tag for you guys today. So we're putting a little bit of a spin on just a regular tag where you might answer a few questions about yourself, share some advice, some information, let people get a little glimpse into your real life. And we decided it would be fun to actually interview each other. So a whole group of us are doing it, and I paired everybody up so that everyone is being interviewed by somebody else. So all of the tag videos are going to be just a little bit different. Please feel free to do them. If you see one of the videos and you really love those questions, it would be phenomenal if you wanted to go ahead and tag yourself and just do that tag video. You don't have to do them all. Pick the one that you like the best, go ahead and then tag some friends and just have fun with it, or maybe pick a few friends and throw some questions at them and kind of keep going with the interview style. Whatever you'd like to do, definitely join in if you want. If you don't want to do a video but you want to answer some questions, you can always put them in an Instagram post or just put them in some of the groups that are online. You don't have to do a face-to-face either. You can do an overhead and talk with your hands or show things with your hands, or maybe do it kind of as a scrap and chat style where you're scrapbooking and talking and answering the questions. Whatever you want to do, we'd love to learn more about you. So please follow along with all of the links down below, because every interview is just going to be a little bit different, and so it should be really fun and interesting. So just a quick introduction of myself. My name is Jen, and I say that at the beginning of all of my videos. On Instagram and YouTube, my name is actually, my username I guess, is actually Kay's Mom, which just comes from being Kay's mom, Kaylin, my daughter, her mom. So it's kind of followed me since she was born. And I've got 4 kids. I live in Canada, in Alberta. We're here in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So we get lots of, cold winters and then hot, dry summers. We love to travel. We love to do all the festivals and events and things around town and in the cities around us. We're a dance family, which is really fun because dance competition season is starting up again. We missed it last year because of COVID, but we get to have a sort of competition season this year, so we're all pretty excited about that. Apart from scrapbooking, I love to read. I'm a big reader. I participate in all the challenges, and I've done a few bookish videos. My husband is a chef, so we love to experiment with cooking and baking. I used to do cake decorating, so I love all that kind of stuff. I crochet. I like to just dabble in a whole bunch of things. And yeah, I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been scrapbooking since I was really little and making videos for 6 years now. I can't believe that 5 years just obviously passed me right by. This was my 6th anniversary in March, so that was kind of cool. I think that's probably about it. If you have any questions at all for me, you can definitely feel free to leave them in the comments below. I love chatting down there, so feel free to just ask away whatever you wanted. In my videos, I do talk a lot about other things happening in my life, adoption and PCOS and all that kind of stuff that's kind of happening around me. So definitely, if any of that is said in my videos, you are more than welcome to always ask or share your experiences and things. I'd love to read all of that and interact with you guys that way. I will share with you a few samples of my favorite layouts. I'll put them like up here, and there'll be some down here, so you guys can kind of see some of the layouts that I love, recent ones that I've made that I really enjoy doing. So all of that will kind of be around me as I'm talking right now. And let's go ahead and dive into the questions that I got. So my interviewer is Sandy, and she sent me 6 questions. So the first one is, I'm reading it off my phone here. So the first one is, describe your scrappy style and what are your go-to products and items to make a layout in your signature style. I would describe my style as very laid back. I don't use my paper trimmer very often. I like to cut things by hand. I like to tear paper. I like to make a bit of a mess sometimes with watercolors or splatters, that kind of thing. And sometimes I kind of just want to put everything together and I don't want to overthink it. And so I've really worked hard to kind of intentionally be more carefree with my scrapbooking and not to worry over all of those little details. So I do get people sometimes commenting that say like, you don't use a paper trimmer to cut off your manufacturer's strips, and you know, aren't you worried that you've cut crooked? I try not to be. I really genuinely try not to be worried about that kind of stuff, because I feel like at the end of the day, what's important is the process of putting that scrapbooking layout together and the process of thinking about the picture and where it came from and what's the story behind it. And that's the therapy for me. So I don't want to worry about all those little teeny tiny things that could possibly hold me back. I'm definitely that kind of person that I could become a bit of a perfectionist and it would hold me back, and each layout just wouldn't be as satisfying to complete if I was constantly worried about all those little things. So it's incredibly intentional for me to be kind of laid back, to just pull things. I always have little bits and pieces on my desk. So, you know, pulling something that I didn't really plan to put on a layout, but it catches my eye on the desk and I pop it in there. I often say things in my videos like, oh, you know, this was just lying there, so I threw it in, and that kind of stuff. I mix a lot of things together, old and new, dollar store items with my local scrapbooking items, that kind of thing. I really want to have fun, and I really want to enjoy that whole process of creating. And so, yeah, I'd say that I'm kind of laid back. I don't get too anxious or worried. I jump in and I just go for it. So the products and items that I would say are kind of a signature Jen product or item that you're gonna see on my layout are sequins. I definitely use a lot of sequins. I definitely like to splatter, so I've always got some mist sitting right here beside me. I love using scraps and like the branding strips and things like that, so I'm always trying to tuck those into some of my layers. And stickers from the Maggie Holmes and Schmel sticker books that I have, the big American Craft sticker books that I have. I've been kind of working my way through those too, so they are on almost every layout that I'm doing. And probably some sort of mixed media, especially watercolor. I like to do just a little bit of smooshing in the background to kind of bring some interest into that background. Oh, and dollar store items. Even if it's just the foam that I'm using to pop up my pictures, there's probably at least one item from either Dollar Tree or Dollarama that makes its way onto most of my layouts as well. So that's definitely in there too. So question number 2 is, where does your scrappy motivation come from? If you get in a slump, how do you get your mojo back? So I'd say my motivation comes from my mom and my grandma. Both of them are very, well, my grandma is an artist, a watercolor artist, and she sketches and does toll painting. And my mom is very crafty, and my whole life was making all kinds of things. And so I think that that's where it all started for me, was from them. And I always wanted to be an actual artist like my grandma, and I am not good at it. I can't draw for the life of me, but this is my way of being able to show my artistic side and express my creativity. And I really enjoy the whole process as a form of just, you know, letting go, and it's therapy and it's my quiet time. I love the whole community. I find that incredibly motivating as well, being part of a community and being able to share and support each other, and in real life going to crops and seeing friends that maybe you only see once or twice a year, but you're, you know, super excited to have that reunion every year and see them. And it just, for me, that's so much fun, and it's super motivating to want to be part of that and show people what I'm doing and participate and engage with everybody. So that's definitely what motivates me to keep going. Now, as for slumps, I feel like I've been getting into more and more slumps lately. Partly it's just that life gets busy, and it, you know, can be frustrating sometimes when you're trying to balance your family life and your work life, and you really want that me time and you can't get it. So, you know, that can be hard. But I also go through slumps where it's just that I don't know what I want to do. I look at the pictures and I look at the papers and nothing is kind of popping into my head. I'll have a really, really great month where I'm super productive and I create a lot, and then the next month I kind of go down a little bit, and I think that's pretty natural. So for me, when I'm in that slump, a couple of things that really help is sketches. I love them. Sometimes I'll make a little drawing beside me of my own interpretation of that sketch, so it won't look exactly like the sketch itself, but it's just the things from that sketch that popped out and kind of inspired me to roll with it and do something on my own. But in a slump, I will go ahead and follow a sketch almost exactly. I may not measure things because, again, it's kind of that laid back feeling for me. So I may not actually, you know, get out the ruler and measure and be super precise, but I will follow the sketch pretty closely. And I feel like it's kind of like exercising a muscle. Creativity, you want to think of it the same way. So when you're in a slump, you want to push yourself, if you can, to just do anything creative. Maybe that's just going through your supplies and reorganizing them and pulling out a few things that kind of spark some interest as you're going through it, and put them to the side. And when you look at them, that could start to kind of get those creative juices flowing. Or maybe you pull out a coloring book, and after all the kids are in bed and it's quiet, and you're not like me who's filming videos in the dark when that happens, you might want to pull out a coloring book and just go ahead and color, or take out some of your stamps and stamp them onto some white cardstock and color those or paint those. And even if it's just 5 minutes, it's just to keep the creativity going, to build that muscle. And so for sketches, I feel like you might look at that sketch and you're just following it and you're beating yourself up a little bit and saying like, I didn't really do anything, I just followed directions that were already there. But it's the exercise and it's going through it, and if you keep working on it and keep doing that, then eventually something clicks, something sparks, and that slump kind of starts going back uphill again. I also find if you're in a slump, reaching out to some of the crafty community, maybe some of those people that you get along with really well, that you chat with all the time, or if there's a particular group that you are more involved in, reach out and just say, hey guys, I need some encouragement, I'm in a bit of a slump. So that often helps. I will often send a message to some of my scrappy friends and just say, I'm not feeling it right now, I need some words of encouragement, and they always come through. So definitely you can do that as well. Okay, question number 3. If you had to give up one product forever, what would it be? I actually think there's a few products that I don't use that regularly that I would be okay with giving up. I think I should pick something that I actually have though, just to make it fair, because I could quite easily say like brads and eyelets and things like that. But I think, I'm gonna say this and people are gonna be shocked. I think I could give up punches. I think I could never have any punches and be totally okay. I actually don't have that many of them, and I don't really ever pull them out. If I do, it's because it's a specific shape that I can't cut from hand myself, like a hexagon. I have a punch to do that, but I could very easily give up all of those punches and not miss them at all, I think. Question number 4 is, if you were making a kit for a brand new scrapbooker, what items would be in your kit? Be specific. Okay, so I think for starters, oops, Luna's upstairs making noise, sorry. I would start by buying them an iris container. That way they can keep everything together, all their supplies, their scraps, everything like that. And then I would go and splurge on a full collection, probably like a Paige Evans collection or Pink Fresh Studio, or even Simple Stories. One of the companies that when they create a collection, you get all the things with it. You get 12 by 12 papers, you get 6 by 6 paper pads, you get tags and frames and chipboard stickers and cardstock stickers and puffy stickers, and you get alphas, and you get phrases, the foam phrases, and you get die cut packs. Sometimes now you're getting like floral die cuts, and you're getting other die cuts. With Paige Evans, you get like the little tassels, or usually little extras like that. I would pick a collection that matches the person that I'm creating the kit for, but I would get them all the elements that come in the kit. That way they have it all. They don't need to look outside of that and try to figure out what matches what or what they should be using. It's all there. Everything matches. So I would start with a big collection like that, stick it in that iris container. I would throw in some scissors, probably something like these. So they're not the biggest scissor, but they're not the smallest. So you can still kind of fussy cut with these, but you can also cut larger pieces. They're nice and comfortable. I would throw in some little tape runners. I don't think I would go and splurge on a big like ATG or anything like that, because I feel like when you're a beginner, you need to experiment a little bit and try different things out and figure out what it is that works best for you. So I would throw in all that kind of middle of the road small stuff. So I would throw in some smaller little tape runners. I would throw in some foam dots, or foam from Dollar Tree. Actually, that's what I would do. I love the foam, just the like plain sheets of foam from Dollar Tree. So I would throw that in so they can play with some dimension and popping things up here and there. I would throw in some wet glue as well. So just maybe some Aleene's tacky glue, or the Scotch tacky glue, something like that. And I would put in a nice black writing pen, so like a Sharpie. That way they can do some sketchy borders like I like to do. Oh, I should have added that as one of my signature things. I love to do a sketchy border around the outside of my layouts, so that's in there too. And they can use that pen to journal. They can use it for whatever they need it for. I would probably throw in a mist, maybe a gold mist, so they could do some splatters, or even black if I couldn't find gold, maybe a black one, because that kind of goes with everything. And I would get them a little beginner's watercolor palette with some little brushes in different sizes, maybe the Michaels Artist Loft set, something like that. I think they're just kind of fun, cute colors. There's lots to pick from. They're really easy to use, and so that gives them a little bit of mixed media that they can kind of play around with and experiment with, and just a couple different sizes of brushes so they can do a few different techniques. And some white cardstock, obviously a pack of white cardstock that will help them to stretch the 12 by 12 papers that are in the collection, and some stamps. I think I would pick maybe the like a stamp set like the Doodling Borders stamp set from Close to My Heart, or there's a couple of stamp sets from Wild Whisper that are really nice. They have some flowers and some little hearts and things like that. So basic shapes that kind of work with anything. And then I would throw in some Ranger's Archival black ink. That way they have something to stamp with, and a little stamping block. And then the last thing that I would make sure that they have is a really nice album and some page protectors. And then that way they can start putting their layouts into the page protectors, into an album right away. Because to me, that is the thing that hooks a brand new scrapbooker, is the first time that they get to open that album and look at what they've created, share it with family and friends, and have the experience of kind of having that moment of reminiscing. And they're not just reminiscing about whatever the picture is, but they're also reminiscing about the experience of putting it all together in that layout. And I think that that's such a great feeling. So nice album and some page protectors just to round that all out. I think I got everything in there. Okay, next question. Is there a technique or product that you've always wanted to try but haven't? What is holding you back? I don't think that there's a technique that I haven't tried or that I intentionally haven't tried. There might be techniques that just haven't caught my eye, or they're just not something I'm interested in, but I do like to experiment and try new things, try new techniques. So I'm gonna go with a product, and I'm gonna say it's all of the really kind of cool specialty gadgets. Like We Are Memory Keepers, all of their really amazing gadgets, even their typewriter, all the stuff to do foiling, all their different punch boards. They have punch boards for everything, all kinds of home decor and making your own alphas and all that kind of stuff. They have the shot box, which is really cool, and they have like a mold press. They just have a ton of stuff, and I don't have any of it, and I would love to try some of it, but it really is a matter of just not being in a place right now where I can go out and buy all of those goodies. It's just not in the budget, and I don't have the space for them. I actually scrapbook in my living room in a really tiny space that's only like 5 feet by like 3 feet. So I can't go out and buy all of those products. I have nowhere to put them, and so they would never get used. But I would love if somewhere out there someone had a business where they had all of the products and you could go and just play. It would be like playtime for scrapbookers or something like that. I would go and use all of them and experiment and play and try them all out. So that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, I think that's my answer. Okay, so number 6, where do you scrapbook, and what is your favorite drink or snack while you're scrapping? So I partly answered this already in the last question, but I scrapbook in our living room, in just one little corner of our living room. It's literally like 5 feet by, my desk is like 2.5 feet, 3 feet, that's it. So scrapbooking in the living room isn't all that bad, actually. It's nice to kind of be around everybody, and I don't have to worry about getting someone to watch the baby, or when the boys were younger, making sure that someone was watching them so that I could, you know, run to a different room and shut the door. So I don't mind that part, but it is a little hard just not having the space to have storage and be able to have all of my stuff in one location. So I have my desk, and I have a couple of shelves kind of behind me. I'll turn everything around so you can see it in a second. But then I also have some of my scrapbooks over on a shelf over there. Just over here, there's built-ins by the TV, so I have some scrapbooks and stuff there. It's kind of all over, and I do even have some stuff in storage downstairs. That would be the biggest downfall, I think. And also those moments where it is nice to just have a little bit of me time. I don't have a door that I can close to be able to do a voiceover without hearing everything going on, or, you know, focus on some mixed media and make sure that little hands don't get into it. So good things and bad things, but it is what it is for now. So this is my little desk, and this kind of gets cluttered a little bit, but because you can see my front door is right there. Here's my little bit of storage. I use this tree for light, just to have extra lighting at night, and then I have some alt lights. And my tripod, just to give myself extra space on my desk, is actually on the windowsill and then on the desk. So, you know, I play around with it, and I'm constantly trying to fix it and make it work. I have a Rascog here that I can move around the side to use if I need to, but it's just a small little space. It's never completely clean, but that's okay. It works for me. So that is where I scrap. Of course, I'm not going to get the camera back in the same spot that it was. So that is my desk. And as for snacks and drinks, I usually always have a coffee with me. Sometimes it's a tea, depending on if I'm scrapbooking during the day or if it's later at night. And I always have a bottle of water with me as well. And then For snacks, I don't usually like to snack while I'm scrapbooking unless I'm at a crop. If I'm at a crop, it's nice to have just those little snacks because sometimes I will get just lost in my layout and then like 2 hours later I realize that I haven't eaten anything, and I have PCOS, which causes insulin resistance, so I have to be really careful to eat regularly. So I do usually have little snacks, things like I like gummy bears and sour things like sour peaches and stuff like that, just where you can kind of take one, put it in your mouth, your hands don't get too dirty, and then you can keep working. Or I love, oh, actually, I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I had these on my desk because me and the baby were munching on them earlier. These come from Dollar Tree, and I had seen people hauling them, and I had seen them at the store, but I never thought to pick them up. I don't usually go down the food aisles. I usually stick to just the kind of crafting and home decor stuff. So I went and grabbed some one day. We were on a road trip and I just wanted little bites that I could feed the kids to kind of keep them placated throughout the road trip. And they ended up being really good, and they're a great little snack. They're just, let's see, there's only 3 left, but they're just little tiny squares. My camera's not gonna focus on it, but it's just a little tiny, oh there it is, little tiny wafer squares. And they're just a fun little bite. So you can just have one, or you could have a whole handful of them, whatever works for you. They're not too messy. They get a little crumbly in the bag, but they don't have to be messy outside of the bag. So they're a nice little treat to snack on too. Yeah, is that it? I think that that is it. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have been enjoying this hop. I am going to personally tag Allison Krogsgaard and Karen Yagel. I hope you ladies have a ton of fun answering all of these questions, and I can't wait to hear your answers. Thanks again so much. Welcome to everybody who's new to my channel. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.